Elon Musk and President Trump are reportedly considering sending $5,000 checks to all Americans. Hang on, that sounds too good to be true, because not only is it too good to be true, that's actually not true at all. I'm going to be clearing up some things in this video regarding the breaking news called a DOGE dividend, in which you have now seen it making the rounds among social media. $5,000 checks are going to be going out to every American taxpayer. Well, I'm going to be setting the record straight of exactly what is going on, what it could do to the markets, and when this could even happen, if ever. So let's get into it. Hey everyone, my name is Randy. Welcome back to the Late Night Grind. And right now we are covering cryptocurrency news, investment markets, and personal finance. So if any or all those topics interest you, go ahead, hit that subscribe button and join the Late Night Grind community. And if you do a couple things, I'd appreciate it. Smash the thumbs up button and watch this video all the way to the end. Those are the two best things you can do to support a YouTube channel. Also, don't forget to hit that bell notification icon. That way you'll be notified when I release a new video. All right, guys. Let's jump into it. Okay, so late last night, there was news making the rounds on social media that Elon Musk had proposed to Donald Trump about sending $5,000 checks to all American taxpayers, and it would be called a DOGE dividend. This being based on the amount of savings that DOGE is now getting via their audits of the United States government, and simply giving back to the American citizens a portion of what they are saving. But right now, I'm going to clarify a few things. That A, this was not Elon Musk's idea. This was actually the brainchild of somebody working with an organization that is partnering with the DOGE organization during their governmental audits. James Fishback, who is working with an outside firm working with DOGE, he has an investment firm in Arizona. He's actually the one that pitched this idea to Elon Musk on X, essentially calling it a tax refund check or a dividend check to American taxpayers. So here's actually what he proposed, which is giving approximately 20% of all of the savings that DOGE has uncovered in the next year and a half and presenting it back to the United States taxpayers. So here's what we're looking at. In terms of a time frame, DOGE is ending in July of 2026. So his idea was that in July of 2026, adding up all of the savings, all of the fraud, waste, and abuse that DOGE is uncovering, give that back to the American people in the form of a dividend check, much like what happens in the world of business. Now, this $5,000, this came from being at 20% of the approximately $2 trillion that DOGE is attempting to cut by July of 2026. So this isn't going to be this week, this isn't going to be next month. This might not even have to go through Congress, but that remains to be seen. But in terms of a time frame, July of 2026 is even when we would be looking at this. Now, if you're looking at it from a market perspective, specifically the cryptocurrencies that I cover on this channel, well, we could be in the middle of a bear market when those checks hit. So we'll have to see what happens. So $5,000, that was an estimate. It's not a guaranteed $5,000. It was simply a proposal to give 20% of the savings that DOGE uncovers back to the American people. So if they uncover $1 trillion, well, 20% of that would be $200 billion, which would be less than half of that $5,000. If they uncover more, if they uncover $3 trillion worth of savings, well, we could be seeing more. Now, the other thing I wanted to address is who would actually be getting this money. According to the article, there would be about 79 million households that would be eligible for this tax refund. Now, I specifically wanted to point that out because I see all over social media right now, people are saying that these are $5,000 checks per taxpayer. The initial proposal was per household, not per taxpayer. And I believe there's even further stipulations on the households that would get it. But again, this would all have to be approved through President Donald Trump before any of it could even be discussed in terms of specifics. Now, as of right now, we are looking at about $400 billion. That would essentially equate to that 20% savings of a $2 trillion cost savings that DOGE would or is hopeful to uncover over the next year and a half. At that point, $400 billion entering the market would essentially act as huge stimulus. If you remember back to 2021, those stimulus checks, well, they were pumped into, a lot of it was pumped into commodities markets, cryptocurrencies, the stock market, and only a small percentage of it went to cover essentials. In fact, there was a famous video that went out and showed that if you put all of your stimulus checks into Dogecoin at the time, all $2,200 of stimulus, and you put that into Dogecoin right before it exploded, your Dogecoin would have been worth like $500,000 at the top. Now, something like this would be almost impossible to time. And not only that, we have to look and see if it's actually going to get approved. Because the next step is obviously going through Elon Musk and DOGE and his organizations that are running these audits. Elon Musk said he will check with Donald Trump, and he reiterated that in a second tweet, saying that would be up to the commander-in-chief if he were to do something like this. So basically putting the onus completely on Donald Trump and his administration. Here's the thing. I would not put this past Donald Trump to actually go ahead and pass this. If you remember, his administration, or at least he was president when the very first stimulus went out post-COVID. The rest was on the Biden administration. But the very first one he was in favor of before the election in 2020. Now, having said that, there is something we need to take a look at, and that is, will this money, $400 billion, if it is sent out as a tax rebate, would it be inflationary? Because essentially this money is coming out of a $2 trillion savings that DOGE is hoping to uncover. But really they would essentially just be saving $1.6 trillion, and the remainder would be sent out as stimulus. Now, if this were the case, new spending has to be sent through Congress. But I'm really interested to see what would happen if this were to go into effect and Donald Trump wanted to push this out. Would this have to go through Congress? Because it's not creating any more printing, any more spending from the federal government level like the previous stimulus checks were. Those were having to essentially print money, a la all the inflation we got would simply come from savings. But is that the way it's actually going to work? This is something that if you hold cryptocurrencies, stocks, you're going to want to pay attention to, because a $400 billion payday into the markets during a cryptocurrency bear market, for example, that's not exactly going to turn it around and suddenly turn it into a bull market. However, having said that, there is some interesting statistics going on that show that 2026 could be a down year across the board. Donald Trump, of course, and Elon Musk would love nothing more than to have all of the American taxpayers appreciate a $5,000 check, if of course it is $5,000, during that bear market. But I want to know what you guys think. In the comment section down below, let me know if you think A, this would go through at all, and B, how much do you think it would be, and C, if you are even in favor of it. Because there is still a potential of that it would create a mild inflationary effect. Now, if you've been following this channel years ago, I basically started this channel covering the updates of stimulus checks, and of course the effects of it was heading into the cryptocurrency market, as we have one and now two bull cycles as I've been covering on this channel. So if any of those topics interest you, make sure that you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification, and join the late night grind. You can also follow me on X. There's a link in the description below. You can follow me there. I talk about and tweet, amongst other things, of cryptocurrency news, this topic. So this is something that I'm going to be following along. It's probably going to be a slow-moving process. Obviously, it's in the news now, but in the coming months, I'm guaranteeing you that it's going to be brought up again and again, especially as DOGE uncovers more and more of the fraud, of the waste, and the abuse, currently sitting at about $55 billion officially that they've already scrapped from the budget. If this $5,000 would be coming out, it is not coming from a surplus. It could be less than $5,000. It could be more than $5,000. And maybe they change it to 10%. Maybe they change it to 40%. Who knows? It's going to be an interesting story to follow. And so if you want to be on top of that news, make sure you subscribe to the channel. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end, for smashing that thumbs up button. And as always, I'll see you guys on the next video.
Lambo dreams fueled by them crypto stacks. Future in our hands, we ain't looking back. XRP to the moon, watch 'em rise and shine.